No hoses. No hoses to trip over.
It's always those hoes, I tell you.
Those hoes, man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Tea with Crema. My name is Chris. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm joined by my best friend, Emma.
Good morning.
Truly good morning, kind of good night. Like, the time zones today are super funny because we had to really make it work across 4 time zones today. We had 5 schedules, 4 time zones, and with 5 people on the podcast, you know, that can only mean one thing. What the Trio is back and joining us today on our episode. I don't know if you guys have been following along. I've really upgraded our sound effects game.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
I'm living for it.
Yeah, I really am.
So in case anyone has not heard our last What the Trio Tea with Crema episode, What the Trio has 3 co-hosts, so I will let them do their introduction right now.
Okay, I'll take over then because I'm kind of the one who started it. So we're What the Trio. Truthfully, we haven't posted a podcast in like a hot minute, but that's okay. I'm Kid, and then there is my sister, Missy. And then we also have one of our really good friends, Kavehi. Say hello.
Hello.
We are super excited to have you all back to really get the tea and figure out, because like she said, it's been a hot minute. I'm not saying that I've been keeping tabs and that it's been a year and 2 months, 3 months at time of posting, but it's been quite a time since What the Trio has released their last episode. So today we're just going to catch up, really figuring out what has everyone been up to in that time since you've last been on the podcast, since you've last had your podcast, what's been going on. But before we begin, we do still have our tea checks. So Emma, what tea did you bring today?
Today, I am drinking a Celestial Seasonings non-caffeine-free raspberry zinger, a goodie but an oldie. What are you drinking today, Kid and Missy?
Well, I have, passion orange?
You know the Hawaiian Sun passion? We just...
Oh, heck yeah.
We just had a visitor from back home, Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and that person brought us these juice packets with like the powder. So that's what...
Yeah, I have those too.
Yep, so that's what we're drinking.
Good.
Passion orange?
Well, that's what she's
Nice.
drinking,
That's
and
what
then
I'm
I took
drinking.
the leftover and stuck it in my leftover Panera lemonade. So
Ooh.
Yeah. this is like a hodgepodge of liquid.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you added some fun juice today.
You wishes.
This is a kid's show and it is not 5 o'clock there. Okay.
Ironically, the person who bought us the juice also left fun juice in the freezer, so I could.
Right.
But I feel like you're right. That's an after-hour
Yum.
type of
Right.
episode.
Not yet.
Love that for you. Kavehi, what are you drinking today?
I have a lovely protein shake.
Yes!
No, I'm just kidding. I have my protein shake and a cup of water.
Wait, no, throw that sponsorship in there. Sponsored by Fairlife. Fairlife. Is life fair? The protein drink for you. Just kidding.
Nailed it.
I love me a good fair life.
Oh, goodness. I don't think I've had a protein drink in years, and I'm okay with that. But that's okay.
What are you drinking today, Christopher?
Today, I have a white vanilla Earl Grey, and this
Ooh.
tea is actually by Sips By itself. So Sips By is the company that sends me my monthly tea boxes, and I guess now they're getting into teas themselves. And so this is supposed to be a light, balanced take on a classic Earl Grey, and it is definitely true that it's a little bit more flowery, a little bit more vanilla, a little less harsh than a true Earl Grey. So I've enjoyed it. It does have a little bit less caffeine. I don't know how they made that happen, but they're in the game now. So I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty good tea for one of their first tries, I assume.
Which, like, also fun fact, Kid and Missy were the ones who got you on the Sips By in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And guys, it's been almost 2 years and he's still getting Sips By.
Yes. That's what I like to hear.
So if anyone is keeping Sips By open, it is Christopher.
It's it.
They just send me so many teas I've never heard of before. Literally almost every box is a brand new tea. I think I've only ever gotten teas that I've had before like twice, ever.
Wow, that's incredible.
So-
2 years.
I know, for
Mhm.
2 years, that is variety.
It is, and they sent
Oh.
variety.
Ooh.
Variety.
I see what you did there.
Well, just a recap from the last time you were on the show. We were connecting about all of the amazing life adventures you all were about to go on. So, correct me if I remember incorrectly. Kavehi, you had started a brand new job and were commuting halfway across Hawaii, which is farther than I thought it was because I thought Hawaii was like the size of a city. It's not. There's many cities on Hawaii. Now I get it. Geographically, it's still a pretty large place. And then, Kid, you were starting, so I think maybe a few months, maybe a year or so into your botanist?
Horticulture.
Thank you. I knew it was
Horticulture.
plants. There's a plant degree. There's a degree about plants. That's what I knew. And Missy has started traveling the world and has really excelled at knitting or crochet. And I don't think those two things are the same.
Nope, but I'm doing both.
Okay. I was like, but you've been mastering both. So those are the things that I remember from the last episode. Any corrections that need to be made?
No, I would say no to the corrections, but definitely we can update that. All those things.
Let's get that old resume out, okay?
Yeah, the resume hasn't changed. I'm still at the same job.
Are you still commuting an hour both ways?
Yeah. So I just made my 2 years. So I just had my 2-year performance review. So I'm still doing the commute.
Oh my gosh.
I guess the only thing that would have changed is that I get to work remotely sometimes. So it's like maybe like one day, on average, 1 day a week, I get to work from home. So I'm actually working on my little workstation right now.
Ooh, yay.
Even 1 day a week is 2 hours saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Right.
and I love saying the coin, saving coin too. So I'm like,
Mhm,
I like
mhm.
seeing my gas
Yes.
tank actually last the whole week and not have to fill up multiple times a week. Yeah,
But you're in like North Shore area, right?
yeah, like the start of North Shore on one side of the island.
Did you get to see Iam Tongi?
So I asked my husband if he wanted to go because I came home pouting because I totally wanted to go and he did not, unfortunately. Traffic was really bad. So we watched the live stream because there was like maybe a handful of people that were on stage that filmed the whole thing from start to finish. So we actually saw like the fire knife dancers when they first like brought him in. We saw the drums and then we saw all the performances. So
Wow, that was big.
from the comfort of our own homes. So that was nice. And then we didn't have to drive anywhere and I still had to, get up for the next work day. So it worked out for the best. But yes, I definitely was sad that I didn't get to go and see him in person, but he was still just as good as he is on the TV show.
For those of you who don't know, we have a top 3 contestant from Hawaii.
Koku.
And Kahuku, born and raised, so he is now representing top 3 in American Idol. So we're hoping for the win. Actually, you know what though? Not to be shady, I don't actually want him to win. I want him to come in second because if he wins, American Idol is notorious for not doing well for
The winners.
the people, the winners, right? They like kind of lock them into that contract, and it becomes like a whole JoJo situation. And I don't want that
Right.
for him. I want him to come in second and flourish like Jennifer Hudson.
Now, did you have family there, Emma?
I did not. I was also enjoying the live streams from Japan. Shout out to all the aunties and uncles who like to live stream. Your Facebook skills have come in handy for all of these
I
things.
agree.
I love the comments is like, Auntie, stop moving around. It's blurry. Like you can see all those comments coming through. And I'm like, how are these people trying to direct their aunties and uncles?
I know. Or like, Auntie, can you wipe your screen? It's like blurry right now. Like, okay, it's hot and humid. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, hello. Enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I have no idea what y'all are doing.
It's okay.
If you know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. There's going to be a big reggae festival across the street from our house this year, so I'm hoping they bring him there
Mm-hmm.
if he doesn't win American Idol.
See,
Yeah,
fingers
yeah.
crossed.
Oh, even if he does win American Idol, then maybe that's like a good pathway for him.
I'm
Fingers
really
I heard you
excited.
But I also don't.
too. Like they're having a parade for him this week, I think. So another state is trying to host him. Like I think there's just Polynesian people everywhere trying to throw him a parade and then just like trying to be like, can you come here?
Mhm, mhm.
If there's a Tongan, they're gonna make it happen. He's gonna be up in Anchorage next. Just watch.
Wow. You said Anchorage. That is, girl, you're getting too real with it right
Wow.
now. She's not wrong, though. That's the thing. If she ends
Right.
up in Anchorage, I'm
Right.
going to laugh.
I was like, I'm not wrong.
Right.
Tell me where the tea is wrong. Tell me where I am incorrect.
You know she's going to be live streaming it from there.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Kaveh, we know you also have a small business that seems to be booming. So tell us, what are the updates? What's been going on with Honey and Girl?
Well, first of all, thank you for all the likes, because I do see you coming through on all the likes from my posts. So I always appreciate that. I guess the updates is that we're still chugging along post-pandemic. That's always great because the pandemic was tough for everybody. I think during the pandemic, we pivoted to doing balloons more so than the photo booth. So this is our maybe first full year of actually doing consistent photo booths more often, which is great. But other than that, I mean, we're still just doing the same. We still keep it pretty small, so it's manageable for us. So it's just the weekends as we can do it, but we're still enjoying it most of the time, other than when people break our stuff and then, we aren't as cheerful to be there. But because that happened to us recently and I was very salty when we left, but I was just like, it's okay. We still got paid. So it is what it is. It can be replaced, but it's always frustrating like in that way because people just like throw your stuff when they want to change their props. So it's like, how do you train adults to to like treat other people's things nicely? You can't. So, you just have to roll with it. But my husband's way better at like staying cool than I am. I definitely wear it on my face if I'm unhappy. So I have to learn how to fix that when at least I'm in front of people. But yeah, I definitely.
Nah, girl, let it show. Let that, this is displeasure. Can you read it?
Like recently there was a group that came through and I was trying to reset the table and just like make sure everything looked great. Because literally you couldn't tell what was glasses, what was signs, what was like other props. So I was just trying to sort it and get it all looking nice. And so when the next group came through, I just said, can you guys just as simply as possible, just put it back where you found it. That's it. And they're like, oh, did the guys not do that? And I literally was just like, no, they didn't. She looked at me like, and I was like, it's fine. But I'm just saying, like, moving forward, tell your friends, just put it back where you found it.
Yeah.
That
Let's
seems like
practice some common
right.
decency.
Such a simple thing.
It is, but, it's not always so common, right? So,
No.
but other than that, that's pretty much the same thing. I'm still chugging along with that, trying to expand it in a little way to do more like backdrop rentals. So we have a new green wall, we have a flower wall. So we're just trying to like slowly grow it into maybe doing like more just dropping off something rather than being there, setting it up. So just, get more coin. That's all.
Booked and busy.
Yes.
That's the goal.
I
Yeah.
like
So that's it. I think that's pretty much everything on my end.
Do you have a photo booth printer? Like it prints the pictures right there?
Yeah. So this is actually my photo booth behind me with my laundry in front of it.
Oh,
That's our lighting on the top. This is our camera, our touch screen, and then the printer is actually on this side right now. So it has two pockets on either side. So depending on the flow of people, I can have the printer on one side or the other.
yeah. That's super cool.
So it prints out like a postcard size, or it can be like the old school like photo strips. So depending on the vibe of the party, people will pick whatever. But it prints right there on site, typically like 30 seconds or less, depending on like how decorative the backdrop is on their template and stuff like that. So if it's simple, it prints out really quick. And the aunties and the uncles, I think that's my favorite reaction is when they see it pop out and they're like, oh, like they are always so surprised when they get to take it with them. That's my favorite thing is just like, yeah, like the older aunties and uncles, they're like, for me? And I'm like, yes, auntie, you can have that one. You take it, girl. She's like, can I come back? I'll be here all night. And then they come back with their friends and they like trying to like tell each other how to pose. Yeah, those are my favorite. Like I really do love the older people when they want to take pictures. Yeah. So,
That's so sweet.
I can't imagine. Like, there will be no trips to the Walgreens today. The pictures are right here. You don't have to go anywhere.
You're all welcome.
And it's funny because they'll always look down at their face. Like, so instead of looking up at the camera in every single picture without fail, all the aunties and uncles are looking down because they're like looking at themselves. So by like the second or third photo, when I've told them to look up, like at least 20 times, but at this point, usually the last one I can get them all looking at the camera, and it's like, okay, I did my job.
Yep. Still
It's
nailed
so
it.
interesting how similar that is to telling children to follow directions.
So like sometimes I'll just start out like, oh, the camera's up, look up, and then like by the last photo I'm like literally pointing at the hole. I'm like, this
There,
is the
look there.
camera. Look here.
You should get one of those. You should go laminate an arrow and say like, "Look here," put it on the camera.
Okay, but that's the funny thing is that literally on the screen as they're taking pictures, there's
Points
two
to it?
red arrows that go like this
Oh, saying
on the screen that tells you the camera is up. So they see it. They see the graphic on the screen.
That they're already looking at.
Right.
That they're already looking at. Yeah, but it's not just the older aunties and uncles, like the younger kids too. Like same thing. They're always looking down. They're always looking at themselves. They want to like make sure they look good. So the photo booth doesn't discriminate. It's young. It's old. They all just don't look up.
Well, we're glad to hear that you're doing successful and you're doing the things and you're booked and busy, like Kid said. So, throwing it up to Kid and Missy. Updates.
Let's have you go first because I feel like my life updates will transition into podcast updates.
Well, I still, like Chris said earlier, am still enjoying very much knit and crochet. They are two different things and I do both of them. However, I recently fell in the community garden and broke my right arm. And so I have not been able to knit or crochet. And my sister said I've been a little mean because of it.
A little is a stretch. She tried to convince the neighbor to come in and get her yarn down so she could do it. And even the neighbor was yelling at her.
That I should not be doing those things because it won't heal correctly if I do it. But I can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
Can't help
we
it.
figured that
It's
out.
driving me crazy not to be able to do one of those things sometime.
We gotta go put it on your toes. We gotta go teach you to be flexible with your toes.
You have finger toes? You probably could. Your brother's finger
I
toes
don't.
are
I have
longer.
sausage toes.
Oh.
I
well,
couldn't
train
do it.
them. The body is incredible.
And I have
Yeah.
neuropathy. Okay, I can barely feel them.
All I hear is XP. You know how Gandalf fell down and fought that thing? There we go, girl.
Wow.
Get with it.
He had a magic ring. I couldn't do that. Okay.
So how long are you thinking you'll have to be in the cast?
She's not actually in a cast because of her age. If you put her in a cast, then she's going to have a crook arm for the rest of her
Right.
life.
My arm would just be like this
Mhm.
forever, you know? And
So-
so because of my age and because I also use a walker to walk around my balance, they wouldn't cast me.
She's
So
just
they
free
put me-
arming it.
They put me in a brace, but I'm supposed to wear it or take it off 3 times a day or whatever. So it's off right now, but when I go out in public or anything, I have to put it back in the brace, and then it's supposed to be 6 weeks of recovery, which takes me to about when the podcast should air. I should hopefully have some kind of use in that arm again.
Hopefully.
They just put your arm back and say good luck for 6 weeks?
Yeah, you put me in a thing, and you're like, okay, because of your age and because of like your disabilities and stuff, we can't cast you. You're just gonna have to stay in a cast or in a brace, and
She's freeballing it.
yeah,
For real.
yeah. So there's nothing there's nothing right here, but if you look, you can see the bruises
There's a
going
bruise right
down.
here. That's a bruise, actually. And it used to be like
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
4 or 5 times
But
the
it's
size.
the shoulder. It broke right by the shoulder, so that's
Yeah.
why.
So what happened was we were in the community garden. We were community gardeners.
Mhm.
And while we were there, she is also disabled. So fun fact, we started our podcast because she's disabled currently. And it was a way for her to get therapy in the middle of a worldwide pandemic when there wasn't therapy available. So we were in this community garden. It's stimulation. Like Chris said earlier, I'm into horticulture. And she does occupational therapy. So her grip is stronger than mine. And I needed her to unscrew it was like
Timer.
a timer for your watering hose. And then she got it off.
Right.
And then she went like this to look inside of it. And there's this piece called a backflow. And you know how you have those like sink things that you put in your sink to catch gullah gullas? But it's like the mesh back. That's what was inside of it. She saw the curve and thought it was a snake. So she jumped back away from her walker, stumbled, realized, oh no, my walker. So she tried to reach for it, realized she was too far away.
Oh, no.
Then she clammed up and went boom, right down on her shoulder.
Mhm.
And she landed really hard in the dirt. And I was like, oh no. Oh no.
I thought it was a snake.
She thought it was a snake. And I knew.
That's
Valid.
It looks like a snake. It looks like the head of a
Yeah.
snake was
Very
coming
valid.
out of a thing. And so
Yeah.
she just jumped. And the thing
It
was, I
spooked
was
me.
in the middle of like turning. So I saw it all happen, but I couldn't get to her because I
Right.
also had my hands full.
Right.
So then I get the chair over and she had to get herself off the ground with her broken arm. And then I was looking at her and it was at the time it was like, I don't know what to do. So I got her home immediately and we iced it. And then the next day we go back and she banged it again. And so I took her to
That
the
time I
hospital.
fell over the
A hose. She tripped on a hose. And there's a whole story with this hose. So then I took her to the hospital. It's like a 3 to 4 hour wait, obviously. And I was like, we can't leave this garden a mess.
Because we were in the middle of doing things, you know?
Yeah. Of doing what we were supposed to do the first day we were there. It was the very next day and we were back. She had a broken arm. We didn't know at this time.
Yeah, we didn't know.
But she was just kind of babying it.
Oh,
and so she
no.
fell again, hurt it, and now it was in a lot of pain. She was like, I
Mhm.
need to get it scanned.
Yeah.
So I dropped her off at the hospital, come back to the garden, which is like 20 minutes away. And I'm there for maybe a solid 10 minutes. And I have a run in with this other garden dude who wouldn't let me leave the garden. He wanted me to stay there so that he could nitpick everything he felt I was doing wrong. And I was doing absolutely nothing wrong. I just wasn't consulting him first. Now, it's not necessary. And just for preference, this dude came with a warning like, hey, this guy's kind of intense. Just keep an eye, just don't worry. He's harmless, but he's very intense. And in that situation, he felt it was more important for me not to respond to the hospital where she is with a broken arm. And he kept telling me, no, you can stay here. That can wait. Call somebody else. You can wait. That's not important. So we're no longer.
Also, isn't this like volunteer basis?
Yeah. It was run.
we paid to be there.
Like, sir.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, sir! This is a paid membership.
It's a paid
I can
community garden.
leave and go when
But
I
the
please.
thing was, I was by myself in this garden and he chose to pull his car up in a way that I physically could not move my car to leave. And before he even got in the gate, I was like, yo, I'm literally in the process of leaving. I need to respond to an emergency. He was like, no, that can wait. And then kept me there for like a solid 5 minutes. And I'm like, like at this point, I was trying to be nice and have a conversation. He just wasn't having it. So I'm screaming it at him. I need to leave. I need to leave. And he was just like, no, that can wait. So then I accused him of bullying and then he moved his car and let me go. Yeah. And at that point, I'm not going to be in a situation where somebody feels entitled enough to stop me from responding to an emergency. Like that's just wild to me. So yeah, we're no longer gardeners. We left that place. That guy was removed. And then the city council came in. The people who actually oversee the garden came in and decided that even though he has a 10-year track record of being a bully, and that the city council, who's a lawyer in his day job, who wrote the contract to be in this garden and stuck the harassment clause in that contract, he came in and said, oh yeah, we're not going to honor the contract and he can stay. Yeah. So we're no longer gardening there. And she has a broken arm.
Right. We pulled our application.
Yeah. We left our plants there. We just never went back because that's just not safe for us as women and as two sisters with no real family that we can call to actually support us, because her needs are a little bit more than like a friend could truly manage. And it's good to have help, but like in a situation like this, it was just kind of intense. But luckily we are gardening in one of her Pokemon friends' yards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like an even better setup. And she's 84, I want to say. She has a beautiful yard and she's at that age where she needs help in the yard. So it kind of works out. That's what I do. I'm in there practicing my horticulture skills. She gets to hang out with her Pokemon friend. And
Right. And we're basically growing exactly the same things we were growing in the community garden, just at her house.
Yeah.
And she gets company too. I'm sure she like enjoys
Exactly that. Exactly
and
that.
she gets free food, because what the heck are we going to do with all those tomatoes when they come out?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
There you go.
I'm confused. So you have to pay to be in a community garden?
Yeah. You sign up for it.
Isn't the whole point to be in the community? Like I thought this was about collective care and let's care about the neighborhood. I have nothing about urban gardening apparently.
Yeah. You had to
I thought the same
pay.
thing.
Yeah, you pay to be a part of the community, and then all you're doing is renting the space that you're using.
Right.
So the only thing was it had to be organic. So this dude had a problem that the soil I chose was organic. It just wasn't broken down all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that soil. It just is a little bit more difficult to work with when you have such chunky material in. So that's something you want to put down, like a chunkier material in the fall and then let it break down into the ground. So it's putting that nutrients in I understand all of this. He just didn't think because I sound young and I tend to have a very young energy. He honestly thought I was some like 18-year-old girl just bumping around and not the 30-year-old woman that has a horticulture. And so he just had this, he didn't like that I wasn't consulting him. But I don't have to consult you. And so, yeah, it was a problem. And he has a history for 10 years of chasing people out of this garden and doing all this stuff. And we were working with him all fall and had no problem until the summer came. And he was like, you're doing everything wrong. And I was doing nothing wrong.
Well, and the thing is, he's not even on the board or anything. He's just another gardener.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's nobody of authority in the garden. He's just another gardener.
And he just was insinuating that they were having conversations about how I was nasty and rude to everyone and I had an attitude problem. And I was like, this dude's lying. I've met one other family. And we were singing when we were planting. I doubt they're going to say that my voice was so horrible. It was an attitude. You know? Like, we were literally singing when I met that family. So I don't know. He just was feeling some type of way and I was in an emergency and you messed up. So we're not there, but we're in an even better situation. Her arm's still broken, but
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
tea. I know. That's tea.
Oh my goodness.
The complexity of community gardening. I literally thought it was like, hey, we have a space now. Help us plant things.
It may
This
be
sounds like
another
it's-
one's, but that was unfortunately not our
That wasn't what
experience.
happened. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the T on
Right.
community.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Pick them wisely, y'all. Pick them wisely. Because sometimes they're crazy. So now that city officials getting investigated, the organization that ran that garden is disbanded. Half the members left because they're tired of this dude basically getting away with everything. It's this whole
Right. A
thing
whole bunch
happening.
of people resigned after that.
Yeah.
I even was accused of that I didn't actually fall in the garden.
Yeah, he said she didn't actually fall in the garden and I was lying and making it up. Except the moment she fell, I immediately texted her physical therapist that we work with at the local gym that she goes to. And immediately I was like, hey, she just had a really big fall. I have to cancel tomorrow's appointment. But once we figure out what's going on with the arm, will you come to the garden with us and do a session so we can figure out how she can get around this garden without hurting herself? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And then the next time I texted her, it was actually, we're not in the garden and she broke her arm. So cancel the garden thing, but we'll see you in 6 to 8 weeks, hopefully.
Well, I am very hopeful that you'll be able to get back to knitting and crocheting very
Me
soon.
too, man.
Because, oh my gosh, it's wild that was a whole story involved with just like, I just wanted to plant plants.
But I also hope one of the things that we're kind of low key working on is, this is more of an update for me. I'm going to take over. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it
Okay.
for me.
One of the things I'm forcing her into, because she is disabled still, so she has an nystagmus in her eyes. That means her eyes shake uncontrollably.
Mhm.
She does have slight control of it, but generally she sees 4. She has double vision, or it takes her a second to actually concentrate. So you guys can see her. It's pointing at her. If you see her nodding her head up and down, she's actually trying to adjust her eyes to look at you. Yeah. So she nods her head a lot. But people just think she's very agreeable and so it works in her favor.
She's a very active listener.
She's actually just trying to see you.
Yes, I agree.
And she still has some physical mobility issues, but after the fall, that's definitely something we're going to kind of amp up when she's better. She can technically work a job. Cognitively, she's okay. Her speech has gotten better. It's just, what are you going to employ her to do? She can't even cashier. If I tried to rob her, she couldn't even get out of the dude's way fast enough so that he, so it's like, once her arm is fixed, we've actually low key been working on selling some of her knit and crochet stuff. She's very talented, like surprisingly talented. And then eventually that's going to spiral hopefully into some kind of fiber artistry profession for her down the road.
Because the hope is that it's something I can do without being constrained to a 9 to 5. I couldn't do a 9 to 5,
No.
I used to in the day, but I couldn't anymore. I'd have to take too many breaks and too many things. It wouldn't work out. So this is hopefully something I can do with more breaks and
Yeah. So that's something that's coming down. And then she fell down and broke her arm, and that kind of went, okay, we'll put that back on the back burner until that's healed. But then also we're low-key working on launching a maker studio. So once we do get our podcast rolling, we'll actually have a way to make our own merch. And Missy is going to be the artist that probably constructs all those stuff. So a little bit, it's been taking us a little bit longer to get us publicly launched, but on the back end, I've been kind of setting her up to make money. Because she can work, she is productive.
Yes.
It just has to be something that fits her. And I realize we're just going to have to make the opportunity ourselves. So that's part of what the holdup is getting launched. When we launched, we're hoping to have that maker studio rolling and selling some of her work, I guess you'd say.
Almost like an Etsy shop.
Right, exactly
Yeah.
that.
You mean all of kids' blurbs and things that
the things
she
that
likes
fly out of my
to
mouth.
say?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I write better than I talk.
But I've been keeping track.
But then I also feel like Missy's also like her, hey man.
Right. Okay, man.
That should also be merch.
man.
Yeah.
Like a plush toy that when you squeeze, it says that.
Okay.
Mhm.
See, Kavehi's a mastermind. Honestly, sit
Right.
down with Kavehi and you should brainstorm merch
Right.
ideas.
She's a good idea, man.
She can spit them at you all day long. So a lot of people don't know this about her. She's incredibly creative on the back end. So even Kavehi, we can make
love
stuff for
that.
her business. I've actually made her work shirts for her company.
Yes, before she rebranded.
Yeah, before she rebranded. So it has her old logo
It's
on
the
it.
vintage logo.
But
we're
I made
calling
her
it.
and her husband work shirts in our little
I still wear
maker
it. I don't
studio.
even care. Just like, I still use it. People
Yeah.
are like, oh, I'm like, the color scheme's a little different, but it's still the
Right,
same
right.
thing. I still rock it.
Yeah, and so we'll probably be making more of those down the line. Me, I'm doing pretty good. I'm no longer in school.
Mhm.
That's a whole other story, but I'm not in school at the moment. And we're working on getting that signed up and all of that's going. And then, I mean, I don't know. I'm still single, technically. I like short walks.
Oh.
Short walks on a pavement, though. I'm not a beach walker. That sounds horrible. I'm too fat for that. Can we just be honest?
Short walks on a pavement.
It's also it's very strenuous to walk on
Thank you.
sand. I
It
will
is.
agree with
Thank
you on
you.
that. I am
Yeah,
validating
it
that.
is. I'm not trying to walk along no beach.
And you
Get me
better
the heck
you
outta
better
here.
have an umbrella.
Yeah, it's hot at sunset.
Right.
Jeez. And then this beach probably smells like poop because the freaking dead fishes and all that. No. I would like to walk through a forest, a short one though, and I would like it paved. And I don't like cobblestone, none of that.
I think we have another merch idea right there. I like short
Jesus.
walks on a pavement.
I like it. I like
Just like
it.
a little
the word.
stick figure
Yes. hmm
with an umbrella.
And not only that, but ADA accessible, right? Also that too.
That's why it's paved.
No hoses. No hoses to trip over. No snakes
It's
to
always those
scare
hoes,
people.
I tell you.
Those hoes, man.
Yeah.
Plotting on my downfall.
Wow. They're taking us out, man. They're taking us out.
Yeah. See, and the trick with me, you're a little angry. Here's some food. Solve the problem.
Yep.
Solves the problem. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But oh Lord. Well, I think you are absolutely right. That does bring us back to the big question of the episode. It's been a year and it will be 3 months, a year and 3 months by the time this episode airs. Where is What the Trio?
Okay.
Everyone wants to know.
You know what?
What's the TO?
I'll totally spill the tea right here on your podcast because we actually made an episode talking about the tea and then my computer crashed and that was why we didn't launch in April. And then she broke her arm. That's why we haven't launched in May.
True. The truth is, we've actually recorded several times since then.
Several times.
I was gonna say, we've had
actually several recordings since then. We just have nothing that aired.
Yeah. But you know what? We're just going to do a real quick. This is what happened and why we stopped. I actually, last year in 2022, this is kid speaking, so nobody messes up who actually got sued here. I got sued. And it wasn't anything that was like bad. I didn't kill somebody. I basically was working on my credit and it was a credit from a long, long time ago that I couldn't find it. And my sister, I was like, I'm working on my credit, but I know I have this debt somewhere. Can't find it. And then literally this dude shows up and was like, oh, you're getting sued for the debt you're looking for. I didn't have a lawyer, so I did it myself. I won it, so I didn't have to do anything else, but I did have to go through that process, and it took
several months,
like almost the whole year. So that's actually what happened. I got sued and I won. So
also, you don't get sued for murdering people. Kid.
Oh,
you
go to jail.
That's true. I'm not in prison, so.
Also, congratulations on winning that. What the heck? That's the one thing I hate about the US. Okay, again, this is not anti-American. I'm not anti-American in any way, I promise. But like credit is all made up. It's a literal construct.
And I was okay with paying it. Like you asked my sister, I was like, we
want
to move
for it to pay for it.
Yeah, I need to buy a car, and this is something that I don't want us to be in the middle of trying to buy a house, and then they're like, boo, we gotcha. Here's the thing. If you're in California, they have 4 years to do something with you. If they don't do something legally with you after 4 years, they're outside of the statute of limitation. Mm-hmm. You do not have to pay it. And this is advice from a debt lawyer that I consulted, who's a really good friend of mine. He was the one who said to me, you don't have to pay that. That's out of the statute of limitation. And I was like, what? Because I was willing to pay it. He's the one that said not to. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And he explained to me what to do. And it just took time for the process to occur. And yeah, right. I actually won it.
Right, because it was technically out of
it was outside. The whole thing in its entirety was outside. They served me outside of the statute. By the time I actually got the letter I was being sued was almost a year after. It was like 5 years at that point. So before you guys, or if you're ever in that situation where they're trying to sue you for credit, check your statute of limitation on the state that you're in first. They might be trying to extend their ability to sue you. Because if you don't respond to that lawsuit, they go and get an automated judgment against you. And then in some states, they can harass you for 20 years. They can garnish your checks for the next 20 years until it's paid back in full. And so that's why that debt lawyer was like, respond to it, do this, do that, do this. It just took like 9 months. God. Yeah, it was... Yeah,
this was not the tea I was expecting.
I know. This is real tea, you guys. So check it out.
I actually really didn't know what kind of tea I was expecting. I was like, oh, we all got busy.
Right.
And I was like,
we did with a lawsuit. And my sister helps editing the podcast when she's not in school, but she was in school.
But I was in school. I couldn't do it.
I'm the editor. I'm the producer, and I just didn't have time.
Right.
That's the tea. Right. I got sued. I won, but then the podcast fell off the table. Yeah.
And we just haven't been back since, man.
Well, and then I wanted to launch with the Maker Studio and all of this stuff. So we are. Oh, and then here's more tea. Because I wasn't doing anything while I was getting sued, I lost the passwords to log in on the back end of all of our stuff. Yeah, make a password list if you're going to have a podcast. I know. So we currently only can stream to Apple. We can't stream anywhere else. And I can't get into the back end of Spotify to be like, connect. Yeah, it's a mess. So we may end up just relaunching a whole new podcast.
Hard launch.
Right. Probably, yeah.
Hard reset.
Probably. There's a whole stuff going down, but we have been recording. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to record last week and then that happened for Broken Arm. When we come back, though, I can say that we are planning. I know I want to tell you guys this because we want to bring you guys on. We actually got into reading really heavily this year.
We did. Because it helps with my eyes
with
and
her
stuff,
eyes specifically. She has to focus her eyes on reading stuff. So we both have e-readers.
Yep.
She does still do audiobook mostly because she has that visual problem. But we're going to probably launch a book club when we come back,
too. It allows me to still knit while I listen to books.
Yeah. Multifunctional.
I love that.
We're looking into book club.
And we're probably going to
bring it on.
Figure out how to monetize the podcast. I've been doing stuff like that. So affiliated marketing. If you guys know anybody, I'll hook you guys up. We are doing stuff on the back end. It's just kind of like a lot happening.
Life happens. We get it. We get it as much as y'all, and so we are glad that you're out of that lawsuit and you won.
Yeah. I mean, us too, because it was crazy. I won the lawsuit and then her car broke. And then the money that I was going to give them in the lawsuit, I didn't have to. I was able to go buy a car and that's how we were able to get around.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there will be a What the Trio hard relaunch sometime in the year 2023. We don't want to put like a hard date on it.
Right.
But it sounds like it's coming 2023.
It's planned. We'll see. Your guess will be as good as ours.
A season, like when they do the really early movie trailers and they're like fall 2023.
Okay. I love that. I do. But I don't know, because here's the thing. If I can't get into the back end of what the trio, and we might just have to completely relaunch it at that point, I'd rather just change the name of the podcast. And so
To what?
okay, I thought there's 3 of us, and not to be like, ooh, fertility, yeah, whatever. I thought, why don't we call it something like on, because that's what we
Right.
are.
She likes aunties.
On teas.
Right.
But then I was like, I can't, because tea with crema. So I thought it was a little too, like something like on tea in the name. I don't know.
I like
Yeah.
it. Everyone has tea though. Like we're not the only ones that you know, like we don't have a we don't have a monopoly on
Capitalizing
tea,
it. I mean,
right?
you
Like,
could. You could. This is real tea in this podcast.
y'all about to see this promo poster. It's gonna say exclusive tell all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Literally. Okay, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe hard relaunch, maybe a whole new podcast. I don't know, y'all. Things are in the works, though.
Right.
Things are
It's-
happening.
Definitely happening, because, yeah, we have multiple people. When are you guys going to relaunch? How come you're not posting podcasts? You got me listening to you guys and then you stopped. I'm sorry, okay? I'm so
Shout out
sorry.
to Helen.
Shout out Helen. Yeah, because she's in my phone doing these things every time.
Oh, Grandma Helen. I can always count on her for some comments, man.
Yeah.
Some comments. I can count on her for my chats.
Mhm. Everything.
She was giving me the sleeping medicine when I got back from the States that one time.
Yeah,
Shout out.
She's very consistent. She's crazy. I apologize. She's crazy.
But she's on it, so we love it, though.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, are there any other updates that you all want to share before we get into the tail end of the episode?
No, I feel like that was it for us. What about you,
Mhm.
Kavehi?
Nope. I think I shared all of my updates.
Well, we are super excited to hear whatever these next steps will be for What the Trio or other unnamed podcast as of this moment.
Or what the aunties or the aunties.
Yes.
Whatever it ends up being, we'll be here for it. So the Tea with Crema will be right there ready to support. But with that, it is time for us to get into our...
Oh, that's me. Rapid fire question. I forgot that was my segment. I was like, yeah, what are we getting into now, Chris?
I'm looking like, is it me? Do I say it? No, right?
I was like,
Did it change?
oh, that's my part. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, it's rapid fire question time. Thank you, Emma. We're just going to let you go ahead and launch with a question, because what?
What's your favorite cookie?
Look, right now, Crumble has these. I answered that so fast.
Wow, you
Right
did.
now, this specific week, Crumble Cookie is doing this Teddy Graham, stupidly delicious. It's
Honey
so
Teddy
good.
Graham.
I'm probably going to get one tonight and gorge on it.
Ooh.
It's so good. So good.
And those things are so big
They
too.
are.
Like you can easily
We have the cookie cutter. So it cuts them into 4 pieces. Yeah, we thought it was a little extra. Let me tell you, if you're eating Crumble Cookie regularly, those suckers are too big. You just punch that
are.
cookie cutter down. You get 4 perfect pieces.
Love that. Okay, at Crumble, please sponsor
Right.
us.
Yeah.
We're all
We're putting you on free game right now with the Teddy
For real.
Graham, Honey Graham.
And most of us were LDS at some point. So sponsor us. Thank you.
Not the Mormon Church.
No,
Don't
not us.
sponsor us, Mormon
No.
Church.
Not them. Crumble.
I want at Crumble
At
to
Crumble.
sponsor us,
Yeah.
not at LDS. Sorry.
Yeah. Just to clarify,
get it
the
together.
family that runs Crumble is LDS. That's why they're all over Utah.
Oh,
Fun fact, they're from Utah.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. That's why they're closed on Sundays,
That's
if you didn't know.
I did not make that connection. I thought it was like a Chick-fil-A situation.
Yeah. That's why they're always closed on Sundays.
That's why
for
you have to get the
LDS.
cookie today.
Yeah, that's why we're getting the
'Cause
cookie
it's a
today.
Saturday.
Wow. Got it.
All right.
Got it.
Speaking
Okay.
of
Now it's all
sponsorships,
clicking.
Cookie Corner, you're up. Because that is my favorite cookie. Walnut chocolate chip from Cookie Corner in Hawaii.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, even like the mini
Yes,
ones.
yes,
The
I'll
one that
take
comes
those
in
too.
that red Solo cup, and then they like from Porridge. I
Yep,
know
I'll
exactly.
take
Right
those
next to Fun
too.
Yes.
Factory.
Those are my favorite cookie to date.
And then you just take the cup and you just put on your lips and you just chug them like that.
No, that's
you
weird.
drink them.
I won't do that.
Incorrect.
You just drink your
I won't,
cookies.
I won't
Oh,
do it,
love
you
that.
weirdos.
You weirdo. She puts her milk in a bowl and then lets it sink to the bottom, and it's a mess. It's soggy after that.
No, I put them. I use a bowl, but I put I dunk a cookie in a bowl, not a cup. I prefer a bowl. Okay,
Okay.
it's a wider
then it makes it
wider
easier to
bowl.
grab.
It's a wider
Yeah,
space to
but
work
then
with.
what if it crumbles and disintegrates? This is just improper cookie technique.
No, that's proper cookie technique.
No,
you know how many people have told me that a bowl life is the correct life?
Well, all of you are wrong.
Kabehi, what's your favorite cookie?
I forgot in that whole process. Sorry. My favorite cookie is Snickerdoodle. So I definitely don't mind a cookie corner, but we have a bakery here in the town that I live in. It's a Wailoa Bakery, and it is to die for. It's simple. They don't complicate everything, and I just love a simple cookie when the ingredients are basic but good. Like, you know, they use that like real good butter and the really good vanilla, like those kind of things, like the expensive stuff. But like they don't want you to know. So yeah, that's the kind of cookies that they make. And it's really good. So good that I've been eating them like almost every day for the past 2 weeks. So, you know.
Girl.
No judgment.
That's happened. But my husband supports my habit, so it's fine.
So really, it's his fault.
Wow.
I mean, he comes home with them and, you know, so I'm not mad at it, but, you know.
Well, what about you, Chris?
If I'm going to go out and get a cookie, I'm going to get a cookie from Tiff's Treats. It was started by people from Austin, so it just always has that like local experience to it. But if I'm going to make a cookie, it's going to be a peanut butter cookie.
Ooh.
And his mom's peanut butter cookies, they're like literally, they're so good. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's just simple. It's like easy to make. And it's so good. I actually have a low end cookie and a high end cookie.
Okay.
On the low end side is a McDonald's cookie.
I like a good McDonald's cookie.
Chocolate chip. I love a McDonald's chocolate chip cookie at McDonald's. Again, sponsor me. Y'all got so much money. You can write me off as a tax exemption. Anyway, if I'm going to go to a mid-level cookie, that's like, or I'm talking about price as well. Mid-level cookie, Tiff's Treats. And then the high-end cookie, because you have to get a stay there, is the DoubleTree chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
Hilton at DoubleTree.
Okay.
The
I've never
layers.
had that.
The layers that she's I need to rethink my cookie answer.
because they bake it for you on site and it's fresh as soon as you check in. And then a lot of people are kind of like shamed to ask for like a cookie every time they go into the hotel. I'm not. Every time I check in, every single day when I go down to the front or like the front desk, I'm like, can I get another cookie? Can I get another cookie? And they're like, yeah, of course. We have so many. I'm like, great.
Send them.
Can I get one for my husband who's not here?
He doesn't live in this state. It's fine.
But I have a husband and he would like a cookie if he was here. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, so Kid, what's your rapid fire
Look,
question?
I'm going to cheat. I have this game called We're Not Really Strangers, and it's a bunch of questions in a box, and I'm just going to pull one out, and we're going to see how it goes. Okay. This is a scenario question. How likely am I to go camping? And how high maintenance is my setup? I feel like let's answer that about everybody on the podcast. That's the question. So let's start with me. How likely do y'all think I am to go camping? And how high maintenance is my setup?
Considering the fact that your dream date is a short walk on the pavement.
But that's valid. That's valid.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I've been to Ward Camp with you, and yes, it was very high maintenance.
It was.
I feel like if the answer is glamping, you might be involved, but if not, you're out.
No, I don't like breaking up or setting things down. I just like showing up and having fun and then leaving.
Wow.
I really think, she'd be in like a hotel outside of the campground.
I was going to say, I was like, if it's not a DoubleTree hotel nearby, she's probably not going to.
Right. If you're not handing me cookies on the daily, what is wrong with you?
That's true. Okay, what about you, Missy? How likely do we think she is to go camping?
Actually, pretty likely.
Right.
I feel like Missy's more outdoorsy.
I actually have a box full of camping gear that I used to like to camp before all of this disability stuff. So yes, if I could, I would.
I mean,
I was gonna say yes because she gave me a hammock, so I know that she's always ready to go camping.
She ready. She ready.
Yeah. Oh, I have this extra hammock.
I do.
Why don't you take this back home to Hawaii with you? I'm like, thank you.
Right. You are all welcome.
I feel like with Kavehi, I feel like people from Hawaii are such a, like, it's so hard to, like, you either love being outdoors if you're from Hawaii or you hate being outdoors if you're from Hawaii. So I'm like, I feel like I'm 50-50 on Kavehi.
I feel like
I would.
Right. I feel like
I'm also 50-50
Right.
on it.
Because I feel like she's not as bad as Kid.
Look, she's gonna be in the DoubleTree bed next to me. She's gonna be in the one next
Whatever.
to me. That's fine.
Whatever. But I feel like Kamei would go, but she also would leave before the takedown.
Yeah, like I would go to set up Missy at the beach, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna come back and get you, but I'm gonna go check out the cookies at the hotel.
The hammock is set up. There's intention behind the hammock being set up, but there's no like guarantee.
I'm gonna come back for the fun stuff and hang out with you for a little bit, and then we're gonna go back to the hotel and hang out over there too.
Wow. Now, okay. I feel like Emma would camp. I feel like.
Is it because we've gone camping with her?
Pre-Japan, Emma would not camp. I offered to return, and she wouldn't go. Post-current Emma does go all the time.
Pre-Japan, Emma did not go camping because I was scarred from going to ward camp and going to young women's camp and then always being the youngest. So the youngest is always in charge of packing everything up.
And the trash.
So I was, and the trash, and it's a lot, right? But then I learned about ultralight camping, which is, I don't do ultralight. I'm kind of like a one-person camper. And I was like, wow, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to have someone with a food tent.
Right.
And then we don't have to have the ultimate 10 tent person. Like, you can just have a tent.
You don't have to
for
sling
yourself.
like a 4-burner on your back. It's fine.
Exactly. Like, all I need is one burner. I was like, wow, I was always meant to be just an independent camper. I was not made for the ward camp life.
No, that's too many people. I am overstimulated just thinking about it. That's too many. Too many.
Yes.
Okay.
Christopher.
What do we think about
I
Christopher?
feel like Chris would go camping with
I
the
do
right
not feel like
person.
Christopher
No, I
would
feel
go
like it has to be
camping.
the right person.
I feel like he would be joining you in the DoubleTree.
No, I feel like he'd be judging me and Emma in the DoubleTree. Honestly.
I think Chris is a camper, but I do think that he's a high maintenance camper.
Glamper.
Like in a yurt or are we thinking he's gonna actually put the
I don't
tent
know.
up?
He tried to convince me. He tried to convince me to go camping in Texas, and I was like, it is too hot for that. That is not happening. So I know he can camp, but in terms of maintenance, I'm not sure. What do you think, Chris?
I enjoy camping. It's the intentionally not being glamorous experience that I really enjoy.
Okay.
Because living like a life like mine where you have to keep it up all the time, sometimes it's nice to just not.
Yeah.
And so that's the experience of camping. It's just like, it don't have to be glorious. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's just, we just out here. We did our best. And this is what our best was.
I like it.
Maybe I'm just extra because I hear what you're saying and I agree, but a little bit I'm like, but also we can be a little bit glamorous. A little bit glamorous.
Missy, what is your question?
Mine
for
has
today?
nothing to do with camping. My question is, if you could choose between being the king or queen of a country or the president of a country, which would you choose?
That's so good. I would be a queen and then it would be I would domain. That would be like Emperor Palpatine style.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you would be a dictator?
Yeah.
I was like, wasn't he the
Right. Right.
I mean, it's perception, right? It's perception. He was only bad to some people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not how that worked.
Well, that's how it's working now. It's just,
Wow.
As a dictator, she can make it however she wants.
yeah.
Obviously.
How very dictator of you.
Hence, dictator.
Let me tell you, life works a lot better when nobody's arguing with me.
Wow.
It does.
Does it
That's
though?
the tea.
Does it?
I think I would want to be like the monarch, but I'd want to be the ruling sovereign.
See,
Because, like, I don't want to be like a whole, like, UK situation. I need to oversee everything. There's no prime minister happening here.
You're not trying to be no queen consort.
That's funny because like I would want to be like the UK situation where you're just like an aesthetic monarch. So like people are paying for your life, you get to do what you want, and there's no responsibilities. Like
You just get to have corgis and tea.
that family seems like they have it really figured out. Like they don't. Everything is paid for, and what pressure is there really outside of like tabloids?
I mean, I gotta agree with Chris. I too would be in that situation where I just want to I want to have the title, but not have to have all the responsibility.
I'd like to revise my answer.
Wow. It's too late, dictator.
Well, look, I'd be fine
Sorry,
with a
dictator.
dictator. I'd be fine being a dictator. Just don't talk to me ever. And if you talk to me, that's when we're gonna have problems.
You're getting more and more.
Not only is she a dictator, she's a recluse.
Wow. Figure it out.
So nothing gets done.
Figure it
How
out.
are you gonna rule like that? Wow.
Very well.
Oh my goodness.
Kavehi, what about you?
We'll never know.
I just feel like I would probably be the one that like denounces the crown and like just goes and lives a humble life somewhere. Like
Abdicates the
yeah,
crown.
I'm just like, I'm good. Like I'm just gonna go over here and do my own thing. Like I think I would love the aspect of like, yes, pay for my lifestyle, but I just don't want to deal with the cameras, like the paparazzi. I'm like, I'm good. Like let so and so do it.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Like, can't
banish
take over.
someone.
Denounce the crown, but keep the security.
Yeah. And I'll just live in that, little cottage off on the side, just support me that way.
See, but if you were a ruler, you could just banish people to other places. You could have them fetched.
The banishing.
You're telling me you've never wanted
Oh
somebody
my
fetched?
Wow.
I just feel like I'd be chilling on the countryside somewhere, like near the water or near the mountains. I'll be happy.
Yeah, and then you know what's going to happen? Somebody's
you
going to
go.
pop up out of the bush like, you're being fetched for kid.
Wow. Wow.
You have been summoned.
Wow.
Bring her to me.
Look, unless you're fetching Jason Momoa, there's no point.
Look, I could do that. I could do
Facts.
that too.
Big facts.
He's single. Maybe he like short walks on a pavement.
That man looks like he likes the opposite of a walk
Girl,
on the pavement.
I've seen him on many motorcycles, okay?
Let's just say I'm willing to grow if I need to. If the situation was right.
So willing to like long bike rides on the road.
Kavehi, what's your rapid fire question for today?
How would you handle someone forgetting your name in a social or work function situation?
Honestly, I probably
Like
forgot theirs first, so we're just gonna
That's the tea.
We're just gonna awkwardly be like dancing around the question for a while.
Until somebody says their name.
Isaac and I always get into the situation. He's terrible with names, and I tend to know names a little bit better. But then the worst part is that they remember his name and not my name. So I'm like, this is rude.
Wow.
So a lot of times I'll have to like reintroduce myself, and then I'm like, oh hi, I'm Emma. I'm whatever, blah blah blah. And then they'll like tell me the name, and I was like, that's their name, telling that to Isaac. And they're like, oh, hey, Isaac, how are you doing, man? I'm like,
Wow, never mind me.
Of course you remembered his golden retriever personality. What the heck?
exactly. It's so rude.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Missy?
I feel like I remember better than Kid. I'm usually the one telling
Look,
Kid what their name
look.
is.
Here's
But
my
truthfully, if I don't remember your name, it's usually written all over my face.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at that RBF.
No, she's good at that. She's good at it.
Yeah, I was like, that's
That's
not
the
the face you
problem.
want to comment on.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it's like I'm kind of expressive with my face. So if I don't remember you, I like Chris, I'm trying to dance around it until either somebody comes and saves us, or we're just going to end the conversation and
Yeah.
we're just not
I'm
going to
just
know.
never gonna say
we're
your
we're
name.
going to just walk away never
Mhm.
knowing.
And then she's gonna walk away and be like, "Who was that? I don't know, girl."
Right? We
I
don't know. We don't know.
See, me, I have the problem where like my government name is Ruth, but my family unit calls me Chelsea because my mother's government name is also Ruth, but everybody also calls me Kid.
Right? She got many names.
Yeah, like the goat, like a baby
Aliases.
goat.
Yeah.
So I mean, people call me whatever. It's
Right.
Like, yeah,
You just
that's
answer.
fine. That's fine.
Yes, it's fine because people have called me
That's fine.
Misty before. I don't care.
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm.
offended. I'll answer.
Because I don't know. But the good thing about that is that depending on what people say to me when they're like, "Oh, hey kid, I know you're not
Where you've
family,"
met
or
them from.
you can't be from this because I never introduced myself. So it's yeah. If I know you're talking to me, I'll just play it.
Right.
Kavehi, what do you do in those situations?
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't answer. Dwayne and I have a system. I'm going to totally be just like outing myself here. So if I can't remember somebody's name, I will typically like turn to Dwayne and I'll be like, "Oh, this is my husband, Dwayne." And then he'll say something along the lines of, "I'm so sorry, my wife didn't introduce you, like, what's your name or something like that, like some way for us to get the name. So that way I can be like, oh yeah, because oftentimes I'm better at, like, I went to school with this person or we used to work at the same company. Like I can remember the context of how I know this individual, but I'm just not good at remembering names all the time. I'm generally pretty good, but sometimes there's just like those few people that I don't know. So we have a system. There is oftentimes a breakdown in the system because my husband forgets, but yeah, something different. But because I'll slap him like when we walk away and I'm like, what about the thing? And he's like, oh yeah. So it's just like, okay, well, we just left that very awkwardly, but it's fine.
Now we have to avoid them all night.
Yeah. But then there's been situations where like literally people just like only know my husband. So very similar to Emma, like they only know his name. So then when I go to reintroduce myself, I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Kavehi, I'm Dwayne's wife. They're like, oh, I know.
Wow.
But like they don't say hi to me. They don't like say anything to me. So then it's just like, so you do know who I am. Okay, cool.
God.
That like typically I try either if I can avoid it, I try not to, but I've been trying to be better at like asserting myself in those kind of situations and just being like, I'm a person too. You can say hi. Like I'm not gonna bite you.
Yeah. Don't be rude.
Yeah. I've been in situations like that. There was another one where I saw a classmate and I actually did remember their name and we were walking past each other in a restaurant. And I was just like, hey, it's really nice to see you again. So-and-so. And he's like, great. And I was like,
clearly don't remember me.
And he's like, oh, like, and I was like, cool. I was like, hey, I'll see you on Facebook. And I just walked away.
Wow.
Yeah. But the funny thing is like now in my work, because we do staffing for the company that he works for, when my boss emailed and introduced our team, she then put, Kavehi went to the same high school as you. And he's like, oh, I thought the name looked familiar. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what you said months ago when I ran into you at that restaurant.
Right.
That's not what you said at Zippy.
Right.
Bro.
Yeah, it was the pho place in Kaneohe, just in case you didn't remember.
Wow. She's spilling.
You know, the one at the Windward Shopping Center, you know, that one.
Wow. The one you didn't remember. Okay.
Let me tell you, there's real tea on this podcast. This is real tea coming forward.
Yeah.
There's some corporate tea right now. Chris, what's your rapid fire question for today?
What is a word that you still struggle to spell?
My middle name.
Her own middle name.
Yes, my own middle name.
How many letters
The
is
entire
it?
thing is 37.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, it's probably really long. That's why.
Yeah. I was
Lots of vowels.
solidly 15 by the first time I spelt it correctly without assistance. And I still have to think about it. And I'm 32 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say the word that I struggled to spell when I was little, which is so weird, but it's melon. I always put 2 L's in.
That's valid. Business screws me up too. I always go busyness. Yeah,
Even-
I have to.
Even when I pronounce the word, I have to go Wednesday.
Oh, me. Yep, that one too. That's the other one. Wednesday.
Wednesday is how I
Or else,
like,
yeah,
okay, spell
It's
it correctly.
Spelled when. Yeah, it's bad. Just bad.
Kavehi, do you have a word? I feel like Kavehi's like an expert.
Right.
She's like,
She's like, no, I know how to spell.
Kavehi
Thank
and the
you.
bee.
So that's the funny thing is that like most of the time I won't know the definition of the word, but I grew up doing spelling bees. So from the time I was in elementary school till intermediate, I don't know if Missy will remember this, but like in our English class, they would have us do like spelling like contest with our whole class for our like word list for that week or whatever. So I was always killing it with like spelling, but I just, when it came to, can you give the definition? I'm like, no, girl, I can't do that for you.
You're asking more of me now. It's too
Yeah, I
late.
was like, you asked me to spell, I spell. That's it. But
You didn't ask me if that was grammatically
yeah,
correct, okay?
I can't use her in a sentence. I can't give
Right.
you, the root
I can
word.
tell
of-
you how
no, I
she
can't do
spelled.
that. Yeah. So in school, whenever we took a test, we had to write an honor statement. And there was always a word. Do you remember it, Missy? There was always a word that our homeroom teacher would tell us people spell it constantly incorrect, and he would always spell it out for us. But now I can't remember what that word
I can't
is.
remember
was
the
trying-
word, but I remember the honor statement. I mean, I remember that we had to write an honor statement.
Yeah, and that was like the first time where I like felt like I had to consciously remember it, where before it was just always like something that came so easily. And I wish I had the word right now, so I don't have a specific word. But one that I often will mess up at work, mostly because of just I'm typing too quickly, is availability. Like I'll put like an extra
yep.
I, or I'll put like an extra Y, but I think it's just because I'm typing too fast. But when you go back and then you see like all of your edits and where you have to go back, I feel like the number one thing I have is availability on there.
There's just too many letters.
Yeah, it's just
Too many letters and too many
just
vowels.
like avail, you know, like avail. She's avail.
Girl.
She's available
Yeah.
now.
That's
My word is recommend because I'm always like double C or double M.
Right.
And then the other one is canceling or canceled because I'm like double L,
Mm.
one L.
I'm telling you, it's the double L's messing me
Yeah,
up.
it's the double L's that get me every time. So those are my two.
No.
Definitely. But the one that I like pet peeve when people spell incorrectly is definitely.
mm-hmm.
When people are like, oh, definitely, but then it comes out either defiantly or they say definitely, like defin A T E, and then I'm just like, no, ick. It's
That
like,
teacher's
no.
coming out.
he's a 10, but he spells definitely with an A.
Wow.
You know what? And I bet he likes
He's a
long
one.
walks on the beaches too. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No, accommodation is my work word that I screw up all the time.
Accommodation.
Accommodations, because there's two C's
Two
and there's
Cs.
two M's.
And two M's.
Yeah.
Yes. Chris, what's the word for you?
Yeah, I still can't spell restaurant consistently.
Okay.
Restaurant.
Right. That's another one that I say restaurant.
Can't do it.
So I
Can't
remember.
spell it. And then I get it wrong in Duolingo when I'm doing Spanish because I can't spell it in Spanish either because I just
Wow.
can't spell it. I'm like, yeah, it's a restaurant. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Yeah, master
We'll
in
get
one
there when we
language.
get there. Can't do it. So
But Chris is really good with words though. Like big words. He be like throwing words out all the time and I'm like, I know I'm dumb. Like I read, but like I don't know what you just said. So he can't spell, but he can talk. Would you guys like to plug yourselves and maybe give us a sneak peek or just like say that you guys are coming back?
Oh, the pressure. I love peer pressure. Okay. We are actually coming back. Realistically, it's going to launch sometime at the end of June. We were originally hoping for May 14th, but she broke her arm on April 30th, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And then that took a solid week to get her in to see an ortho. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking we're going to launch in June, the podcast, probably the end of June. And then the book club will start in July.
We do have a couple of
Yay.
books already
We
in
do
mind.
have books already lined up. And then the Maker Studio portion for like merch and stuff is going to launch in August. So,
We're going to say fall.
yeah. No, I'm going to say
Fall.
August. I'm trying to get in on that Lionsgate energy. I feel like that's the greatest launch of business. So, yeah, August.
Name TBD.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happening for the podcast in summer 2023. That is your
Mhm.
season for the year. We are super excited for you. Kavehi, where can people find Honey and Girl?
They can find us on Instagram at Honey and Girl or on our website at honeyandgirl.com.
And we are super appreciative for having you guys back on our podcast. You know, in so many ways, you really helped us get our podcast off of the ground and really take it from my brain into an actual thing
Yeah.
that exists in the world. So first, thank you for having us on your podcast originally, and thank you for being here today. We're super glad to have had you. Emma, where can people find our podcast?
You can find our podcast on Instagram and Twitter at The Tea with Karma. You can also find us on Facebook at The Tea with Karma. If you'd like to buy us a cup of tea, you
Nailed
can...
it.
Stop it, Christopher! I was there!
Nailed it.
Were
Nailed
you
it.
though?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
It was in my brain. Okay, guys. Also, I just want to point out we haven't recorded since I think March because we had to like record heavily in March. So I haven't done our outro in a really long time. Okay, I got this. Do I know where we're at? Probably not. Okay. You can find our...
Nailed it.
I'm killing it. Take 3. You can find our podcast on Instagram and Twitter at The Tea with Crema. You can also find us on Facebook at The Tea with Crema. I don't know why I don't say you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and... Okay, hold on. Sorry. Take 4. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Tea with Crema. You can also... No, I forgot the Venmo part. Take 5.
Okay, let me try it. Let me
We
try
might
it.
have to
Let me
record
try it. Okay.
Dude, go for
You
it.
can
Go.
find them on Facebook, Instagram, and the internet at What the Trio Podcast. That's wrong.
That's
That's
not.
wrong.
They're tea with crema.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. You can find us on What the Trio Podcast.
No, it's the tea with crema.
Okay. The tea with crema is on Instagram, the internet, and your ears. Just look up the tea with crema and you'll find them.
You can find them
Nailed it.
everywhere.
And give them money. Here's their Venmo. Say the Venmo, Emma. Say the Venmo.
At the tea with crema.
And do that and then follow us. We're What the Trio, but don't expect anything till June. Nailed it. Nailed it.
This is coming out in June.
Oh, well, yeah, I said what I said. I said
Right.
what I said.
Wow.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Can that just be our outro for today?
I'm
Oh
so fine
my
with that. A strong
goodness.
finish. Strong finish.
Good job, guys. Good job. It's okay. I'll probably just re-record it at the end.
Thanks for having us, by the way.
Thank you.
We army crawled to the end.
You know what,
I don't even know where to put the outro music. It just will go somewhere.
You know what?
The music's gonna play.
It'll go right here. It'll go right here. And there you go. Goodbye.
Bye.
Nailed it.